Hello, so today we're going to be going over a Mage game. This is a VOD from a little bit further back. I'm just using some of my old VODs because I'm not playing that much these days just because of like some other stuff as well as me not liking the patch that much. But this is something that's still relevant and it will probably be relevant still in the upcoming patch. And it's the idea of playing Ornn artifacts with mages. Mages, or the mage line in particular, just playing like vertical mages or Vigor reroll or those type of units. A lot of them work out really well with different Ornn artifacts, and it's really hard to miss. Even though they're mostly AP units, a lot of the Ornn artifacts are very good on the units themselves. For example, like there's many items that can work really well on the Vigor because of how much damage Vigor does, so you can make good use of stuff like Lynchbane, Luden's Tempest, Deathfire Grass. Things like anything that procs a shield is really strong, so stuff like Unending Despair as well as Forbidden Idol work really well on both Mordekaiser and Vex, which you can play both of those units fairly easily in the comp. Things like Horizon Focus can work on Tahm Kench and Nami. Manazane works on all the casters. There's so many artifacts that actually work out really well based on the units that you're playing typically in this comp, that it makes it very nice to angle towards mages if you have Ornn artifacts. So in this game, I think it's going to be a game where I'm going to angle mages just based on my opener, and then we'll see that I'll take an artifact later on and how I'll play around that. I think based on the thumbnail, if you couldn't tell, it's going to be about Unending Despair Mordekaiser. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to show the intro. So I take a Mage +1. So Mage +1 is just, okay, I'm kind of looking for some sort of reroll to play. I'm looking for something to give me a lot of direction because I feel like a lot of the current patches, like, you know, locking in something 2-1 gives you a good like idea and good way to cap out your board a lot later, especially if there's like hero augments and other stuff going on. So I take Mage +1. It's also, I don't know if it's Champion Conference or Champion Delivery, but that also greatly influences if you want to pick certain lines. So for example, Mage is very good in Champions Conference. So if you don't know what Champions Conference is, it's the galaxy where it drops you a unit that is tailored to your board. So it'll give you like, hey, we'll just give you a unit that's like fits your board, right? The reason that's really good is because Mage really wants to have Yuumi as well as Nami, and guaranteeing those while you're still re-rolling on level 7 will make your board a lot stronger, which is really nice. So let's just go through some stuff. I'll just go first in, like, there's a lot of things to talk about, so this is gonna be a little bit tutorial, a little bit of a knowledge dump, but we're just gonna go through some of the stuff. When I'm talking about the board that I'm trying to play around, basically what you usually play is you reroll on level 7 and you play some rendition of these 5 units. Obviously, if you don't have Nami and Nora, you'll basically just play Soraka and Seraphine until you hit one of them, and then you'll drop these ones. They're 1-star units, so typically you're not playing around them. You could reroll Seraphine and Soraka, but it's not that important. And then you're going to roll on level 7 because level 7 gives you the best odds of finding 3 costs, and you're playing around 3-star Vex and 3-star Vigor. In terms of itemizations, usually you're going like a blue buff, a Nashor's Tooth, and then either a JG or a Rabadon's. I'll just put a Rabadon's here for sake. And then on the Vex, a lot of times you'll put something like Spark as well as Gargoyle. So Vex really wants to be isolated as a frontline unit. If you read her ability, she gets a shield for 4 seconds that is increased by 5% for each enemy targeting Vex. So you want to make sure that she's alone, so she's targeted by the most amount of units, so she gains this extra shield. And your board looks something like this. Now, obviously you can look, and I'm playing only 5 units. There are many different ways to cap out this board. It makes it very flexible, but you still have to play around the Vigor and the Vex. So sometimes, you know, especially if you have like a hero augment, sometimes you can just play like either Nunu hero augment or Blitzcrank hero augment with this setup, because you'll have the Honeymancy and then the Vanguard will synergize with the Galio. The highest cap version that you can still fit on level 7 is you play around Xerath. Vigor scales off buying charms, so you want to be buying charms as much as possible. Here, I don't know why the dataset isn't uploaded here, but he gains 2 ability power for every charm that you buy. And Xerath gives you true damage if you have Arcana in, based on the amount of every 3 charms that you buy. So with Vigor, you're trying to buy charms every single round as much as possible, especially when you're re-rolling. And then it synergizes really well with the Xerath. And then you play the Tahm Kench, because Tahm Kench works really well with the board, just being a frontline unit, being a decent tank, as well as giving Arcana. And Tahm Kench also gives a stun. Vigor's a little bit slow sometimes. The main way you lose when you're playing Vigor reroll is that if the opponent has so many extra units or target dummies or things that the Vigor has to chew through, because Vigor's very single target. Your board doesn't have a lot of AoE damage because you're kind of just hoping this Vigor's one-shotting everything. So late game fights, the stun from Nami and the stun from Tahm Kench are super duper important. It makes your board a lot more stable. But on top of that, if you're not playing around Xerath and Tahm Kench, you can easily fit in extra units fairly easily. So one example is Mordekaiser a lot of the time. If you have a Mage +1, Mordekaiser basically gains a bunch of shield and becomes unkillable. So a lot of times if you have a Mage +1, you'll put it on a Mordekaiser. If you don't have the Mordekaiser, obviously the highest cap is playing around Xerath eventually. With the changes to Mage as well, Mage +1 is really nice because then you could just easily fit in 7 Mage as a cap on level 8 and play something like this. So you'll be able to fit in a nice board. You can also drop some of the mages that you don't have in order to fit in like 5 Mage with some rendition of other units. For example, a lot of the time you'll play something like Zillion as a +1 if you have a free spot, just because Chrono gives healing to your whole team. So the 2 Chrono with the Vex is also really important. But like I said, there's so many different variations, so many different versions. And the other thing that I want to show you, which is going to be a little bit separate, once again, I'm just going to go in terms of items. I'm going to show you like the artifact items, right? So this is something that's really important with artifact galaxies. So if you look at a lot of the items, for example, Zonya's is an AP item you can put on Vigor pretty reliably. Horizon Focus works with stun. It works really well on both Tahm Kench and Nami. They're both really good on it. So Horizon Focus can work with that. Deathfire Glass isn't the greatest thing, but it works really nicely on a lot of the mage units because as long as you get Vigor going with his blue buff, he'll get like the blue buff bonus. So Deathfire Glass actually synergizes pretty well with somebody like Vigor. Eternal Winter, just a generic frontline item, so you could put on Vex, put on Mordekaiser. Unending Despair is really good on Vex and Mordekaiser because they both have a shield, so they can actually make use of it. It's also really good on Blitzcrank. Innervating Locket is really good on Vex, really good on Mordekaiser. Trickster's Glass, Anima Visage, they're also good. Hull Crusher, good for a frontline unit, just generic. Infinity Force, maybe less so. Manazane, pretty good. Blending Jewel is really good on Nora, by the way, but I wouldn't necessarily. I'll probably do a guide after. I'm just trying to show that if we go through the list, almost all of these are clickable, but Blending Jewel is really good on Nora, but you might not necessarily play Nora. Lightcrest Shield, if you have a frontline with Gargoyles, good. Lynchbane could be played. Suspicious Trenchcoat's good for frontline. Luden's pretty good for frontline. Forbidden Idol is also really, really good on Vex and Mordekaiser because it works off shield value and they both have really big shields. So as you can see, we went through the list of Ornn artifacts and almost every single one of them, like, you know, more than half of them, I said are playable with this comp. That's why a lot of times like you'll see me try and angle towards mages, especially if I have AP items. I'll try and angle towards mages if it's an artifact galaxy or if you have Ornn artifacts, because it just so works out that like, because so many of the units have shields as well as work as like these Giga Solo frontline units, a lot of the generic frontlines as well as the other frontline items that give shield breaking properties are very, very good. And the other things, because there's a lot of AP items that can work really well, and your board has stun, so Horizon Focus also works. You basically can't really miss with the Ornn artifacts, and that's something that I wanted to kind of illustrate in this video. It's something that I talk about a lot. So like, you know, if you're looking at artifacts and trying to think, okay, what do I do about this? I would always recommend considering playing mages. Obviously, you know, the more people know about the set, the more people are going to angle themselves towards these lines. But like I said, just that's like the thought process I have. So for example, I think that very rarely do I ever take like a gold augment that's like, this is what like very rarely do I take an augment that gives me an Ornn artifact, because I find that depending on your board, a lot of times you can miss really hard and you have to hard force something and then you're just in a really bad spot or a really awkward spot. Specifically with, if you're playing around mages and you see the offering of Ornn artifacts, I wouldn't say like take like something like What the Forge, where it makes everything an Ornn artifact, because your other items are still important, right? Like Spark and Nashers and Blue Buff, those things are important. But what I mean to say is that if you're in a spot where it's like, oh hey, I can really cap out this board with some good items, taking an Ornn artifact, it's really hard to miss. It's really hard to find something that doesn't fit the mage board, because basically any generic item, most of the frontline items, and all the AP items are takeable, which is really nice. So, you know, that's like 75% of the Ornn artifacts that you can put on your units. So anyways, now let's just focus on the game. So that was like the little intro. I wanted to do that little blurb of a tutorial. I think I might make, if people are interested, a guide on Ornn artifacts and just go through each Ornn artifact and say what units are good with what. I'm waiting to do most of my guides because I was going to do them all last week. That was my original plan. And the problem is that it didn't work out because like they're doing this huge patch that's coming up this Wednesday. So because of the huge patch, that's why the guides have been delayed. I made a post about it on the YouTube, but I'm just saying in case somebody just occasionally watches videos, I'm just repeating it because I promised I would do like a bunch of guides, and I don't want to come across as that I just forgot about people and I'm lying, because I'm not. It's just, you know, it's just unfortunate the way things worked out with the patches. But anyways, here I'm just gonna fit in my 5 mages. Because I have mage +1, I'm more inclined to reroll the Mordekaiser as well. A lot of times you'll see me when I play mages, I just aim for like the Xerath high cap. When you're aiming for Xerath, you usually don't play Mordekaiser because you're gonna play Tahm Kench and Xerath anyways, and then you're just gonna level for Vertical Arcana. So your future levels are either gonna be for 7 mage, or you will play for multiple Arcana to get like more true damage on your Vigor, so it compensates for the lack of damage of not having 7 mage. Because I have a mage +1, I'm kind of down for this Mordekaiser to kind of do some work. It's very efficient to roll for multiple units of the same cost at the same time. So for example, if I'm rolling for Mordekaiser, Vex, and Vigor eventually, it makes it a really good spot. Now obviously my spot I don't think is the best for Vigor. I have no tier and I have a sword. Sword is really hard to deal with in this comp. So a lot of times if you have a sword, you just have to make a Shojin. Shojin isn't the greatest thing on Vigor, but if you have a Nashor's Tooth, it's okay. I wouldn't worry too much about the strict itemizations. It's mostly like playing the most optimal board. You don't have to worry about that too much. Just play for like, you know, second, third, top 4, right? Those are all still fine. So in this case, that's what I'm kind of aiming for. I'm already like pretty good setup for mages. I'm going to guarantee a Nami, and I'm going to guarantee a Nora because of the Galaxy. So the biggest parts where you can miss with mages is not having a Nami, not having a Nora early enough, because basically you're playing 2 dead units on your board versus having the Nora, which gives the Yumi to your Vigor, which helps the Vigor out a lot. So you run into a situation sometimes where you're kind of screwed, but in this case you won't be. In this case, when it's a Galaxy like this where it's giving you vertical trait, reroll comps that require a certain 5 cost are very good. So for example, if you are playing Multi-Striker, for example, Multi-Striker is really good in Champion Conference as well, because you'll always get a Camille, so you'll always be able to make it to 7 Multi-Striker, and a lot of times when you go bot 4 playing Multi-Striker, it's because you don't have the Camille. The same thing here. A lot of times your Vigor board is really weak because you can't find a Nora and you don't stabilize around your reroll. Here I don't even have to worry about finding a Nora because I will get one for free. As you can see in my team planner, I'm not even considering playing around what's his name yet. I'm not even considering playing around Mordekaiser yet. Like I said, hopefully I do it here. I don't know if I'm smart enough, but we'll see. Right now, my setup is 6 mages. It's not the greatest thing. I could play 7 mage on level 7 as well, but sometimes it's just better to play Chrono instead. Just play a random Chrono unit, play some other units, just to make your board a little bit beefier. Because if you're playing vertical 7 mages, sometimes you just don't have enough front line until you have at least Vex 3. If you don't have a Vex 3, I would recommend playing around 5 mage, because you just need to like even out your front line a little bit, make it a little bit stronger. Also, I took Shimmer Scale, by the way. I know that maybe I could be making more econ and I can go up to 7, but I have to roll when I'm trying to roll to find upgrades and charms. I'm really low on HP. This is a very forcing game, by the way. This is why I don't have much fun with this patch. I find that a lot of the time my success is when I play games like this, where I feel like my spot isn't particularly great and I feel like I didn't particularly do anything amazing, but I just picked a line early that is very strong and I just played towards it and I got my units, right? Like, as you can see, I'm playing Vigor and I still don't have a tier. In most cases here, I wouldn't play around mages. I wouldn't even take a mage +1 to start the game. It's just that, you know, I took mage +1 on 2-1. It's a very good, if you look at the stats, mage +1 is very strong. It is a very good comp to play around. The problem is taking mage +1, I didn't get dropped a single tier yet. My spot isn't the greatest, and that's part of the reason why I'm losing a lot of HP. And sometimes the games are like that. That's why I don't particularly like locking in something on 2-1. For example, if I took a generic augment on 2-1, and I didn't have this mage +1 that I had to play, that I felt like I had to play around, I would have a lot more fun of maybe playing some creative board that I can think up on the spot based on my items. I would slam my items a little bit differently. Maybe I'd just out of nowhere start playing something like Gwen or something like Warriors, or you know what I mean? But it's okay. It's totally fine. I don't know when I get the Ornn artifact, but I think that was the big takeaway moment for this game. I am very low HP, by the way. I'm trying to full sacking here just to guarantee it. I'm gonna have to roll pretty deep. I basically have to roll after this turn. I should roll until I have at least Vex 2, Vigor 2. Like everybody has to be upgraded is what I'm trying to get at. When you start stage 4, when you're playing a reroll, you don't really consider the fact that you're gonna hit the 3-star instantly, right? You're not really sitting around saying, I'm gonna have Vigor 3 in stage 4. It's like, no, calm down. Usually what you're doing is around 4-1, you want to have everybody upgraded to a stable portion. And this is an example of what the fuck, this game sucks. Because, you know, remember I was saying, like, I took this mage emblem, I'm playing around mages. Now I have, I not only did I not get dropped a tier the whole game, I now have 2 swords that I have to kill. I have to get rid of these swords. I don't know how to get rid of them. So I fit in 7 mage with the Nami, because I got the Nami from the champion delivery. And now I'm just kind of like crossing my fingers and hoping that I hit a remover. I roll until the Vex, right? The reason we're rolling deeper than 50 gold, I know it's sacrificing our econ a little bit, but we're rolling because we need to find the Vex. If we don't find Vex, we are screwed. We need a solid frontline unit, and Vex is also going to earn us money, especially if she is 2-starred. Now that I have 7 mage in, I should be decently stronger. For example, look at this guy. He's RE3, Witchy Wall Up. I don't think he's going to win. Just by nature of not having enough items on the Poppy. So this guy is very, very strong. He's been win streaking the whole game. And as you can see, it's enough to stabilize, even without a mana item. And that's why a lot of times you'll see me play around mages. I just find that's a lot more reliable. This might have also been before the first mage nerf / rework. I'm not sure exactly how old the VOD is, but it plays the same way, so it's okay. And then here I take Portable Forge. So as you can see, miss, these are completely useless, but Deathfire Grasp, I can't really take it because I need a mana item on Vigor, so I'm going to try and get a tier on Carousel and make a Shojin. And then, so I take Unending Despair. Unending Despair, I already have 3 items on Vex. Unending Despair basically does damage when the shield breaks on these frontline units. Mordekaiser does an insane amount of damage, and it's actually very good on Mordekaiser. So I'm rolling until a charm every turn to make sure that I scale up my Vigor as much as possible. I don't want to lose fights this stage because I am so low HP. So the econ doesn't really matter. I understand with Shimmer Scale you want to try and make it to 70 so you have a little bit more gold to work with. But I can't really greed that much because I'm 35 HP. If I take one bad loss, I'm basically 1 life, and then I can easily go bot 4. So I really want to buy charm every turn, make sure I'm the strongest board I can. I'm incentivized to roll and buy charm because Vigor scales off the charms. So even though it's a Vigor 2, I'm scaling my damage into late so that if I eventually have Vigor 3, I have a really strong win con. So it works out that basically I just roll until charm every round. I'm not going to roll deeper than charm. And then that's it. Until I'm close to hitting an upgrade, then maybe I'll roll deeper than charm. But basically, I'm gonna re-roll two or 3 times each turn to get the charm. This is a high roll though, definitely. So I just find a Nora out of nowhere. So yeah, I guess we're playing Nora. So now my board is actually strong as shit because I'm 7 mage with a Nora, and I can still scale and buy charms. The Nora does a lot because not only does Nora help with the damage, she does like damage over time, and she can like help snipe some of the backline units. She also gives Yuumi. Yuumi gives passive healing as well as ability power to the Vigor. The passive healing is actually massive a lot of the times because now the biggest problem with this board is that I have like a Giga frontline, and let's say like for example this guy has Fiora. Sometimes the Vigor just gets sniped and you just lose the fight because you lose all your damage instantly. When you're relying on like 1 unit to do most of the damage, the Yuumi really helps because it gives that not only like extra damage but also survivability. So it does everything for your team because you want the Vigor to be juiced even more with more damage, more AP. And at the same time, you also want the Vigor to survive a little bit because if the Vigor randomly gets killed from some random unit, you're in a really bad spot. So the Yuumi always on the Vigor. Make sure that he's super safe and super comfy. And here I have to take tier. Tier gets taken, so that's a problem, of course. I don't know what I'm going to do with my items. I'm definitely not taking a sword with a Zareth, even though it's a Zareth. I might actually take sword with the Zareth. Yeah, that's kind of awkward. I think I had to, because I'm not making any items anyways. I don't have anti-heal, so I could have taken a bow on the carousel, but I don't think there was a bow on the carousel. Let me go back 1 second just to... Oh, the bow was on a 1 cost. That was the problem. Yeah, because usually you would take bow and put anti-heal on Nami, because right now I have Shred, like I have the Spark, and then the anti-heal would be really good. But, oh man, winning the last fight, not getting first pick is so rough there, because the tier, I've been waiting this whole game for a tier, and now I have 3 fucking swords. So it's always going to be Giant Slayer at one point, right? I just don't know if I make it right away. I'm rolling because I think I think I'm rolling deep here. Why am I rolling so deep? Oh, I think I was tilted. Okay. I'm gonna explain. I should have rolled till charm every turn. I didn't have to roll as deep as I did. This was definitely me on stream being tilted that I rolled this deep. Now, I don't recommend doing that. The reason I was rolling was I was searching for a charm to deal with these swords. That's what I was doing. I was trying to mill the deck for like a charm of either a component anvil, a reforger, or a break component. Like I was looking for something to deal with the swords. So that's why I was rolling really deep, because I think I was just tilted. Now, I shouldn't have done that because obviously it doesn't matter, but I did find my tier, but I just ruined my econ. So now we're not playing for first anymore. Like this was a spot that there was a potential I can play for first, but like we're not playing for first here anymore. Because now I just have too little econ, so I'm going to be so far behind the gold of everybody else. Other people are going to be able to cap their boards around legendaries and high levels. And me, because I still have to roll for these dudes, I'm really far behind, so I'm going to be stuck on level 7 for a while now. So that was definitely it was like a semi-tilt roll is what I would say it was. Just because I was like, I need to deal with this. I didn't get a tier this whole game. And, you know, I don't even know why I would be tilted. I went first the last game. So I don't think it was the correct decision, though. So I would recommend not doing that when you play this line or you play this game. I think I was just annoyed and stressed. But it's okay. As you can see, this Mordekaiser does do a lot of damage. I will be very strong. As long as I have enough front line to chew through these guys, I might be able to win here. Oh, man. Kog'Maw live with like 1 HP. Man, that's rough. But like I said, with mages is very hit or miss, right? If you hit your units, you're good. That's why I was saying it's a bad decision to roll that deep, right? Look, I rolled super deep to get a tier to deal with this sword, and what happened? I lost 2 fights anyways. So now, not only did I itemize my Vigor, it's like, yes, it might have helped me take a less narrow loss, but I didn't win those 2 fights anyways, and I griefed my econ, which hurts my long-term prospects for the game. Because now it makes it that I might not even hit these and I might go bot 4. That's why I was saying it's a bad decision. It was definitely just tilted. It was like, I'm just going to roll, and then it was like sunk cost. You know, I rolled the first time, I rolled the second time, I rolled the third time. Right? So, you know, it's okay. Did I just get dropped Vex 3? Oh, nice. Man, I'm high rolling this game. That's pretty cool. I'm going to be stuck on this level for a while, so I might as well continue playing around Mordekaiser. Do I make adaptive here? I don't need Shiv. Yeah, and I can make Shojin for Nami. This is fine. Mine has worked out now, but man, I would have had enough. Like, if I waited 2 turns anyways, I would have had a component anvil that I could have gotten a tier here anyways. So I kind of just griefed my game for no real reason. So, you know, that's unfortunate. It is what it is. And I pointed out the mistake, so hopefully it makes sense. This guy's playing like Vertical Eldritch. This might have been like earlier in the patch. It might have been like right at the cusp of the new patch. Because if this guy's playing this, he was probably just trying it out because it just got buffed. But yeah, now that I have this Vex, I should be really strong. Or really reliably strong. Also, my econ is starting to recover really fast because I have the Vex with the, like I have the Shimmer Scale Essence. So I have the ability to reestablish my econ in a very easy way because I'm going to cash out gold a lot. Do I play this guy? Ooh, this is rough. Do I just sell Mordekaiser here? I don't think I sell Mordekaiser. Oh, I guess I play like that. Yeah, I guess so. So what I did here is I took out the Galio to fit in Arcana. Because remember I was talking about with Arcana? This is what I mean by it's very flexible. Now, if I was able to level 1 extra level and I wasn't playing around Mordekaiser, the problem is because I have this item, I have the, what's it called? The, Unending Despair. Because I have Unending Despair on Mordekaiser, I'm incentivized to keep playing the Mordekaiser. If I didn't have to play this Mordekaiser, what I could do is I could level to 8, and then I could fit in everything. I can fit in 7 Mage, or I can fit in 7 Mage and 3 Arcana. So it's just like the Mordekaiser problem. But it's fine, because Mordekaiser is doing a lot for my board. Because he's hard to kill, and he has the extra item. Yeah, that's a bit awkward, right? Because imagine if I had this Mage Emblem. Like, I could put this Mage Emblem on either this guy or this guy, right? Like, I can put Mage Emblem on Tom Kench, or I can put on Xerath. and then I would have a open slot, right? Like imagine if this guy wasn't here, I can have this guy, and then I could level and play this guy, and then I would be 7 mage, right? I would be 7 mage with 2 arcana on level 8, and that's the max cap, because 7 mage basically makes it so that all my units do more damage, right? Because 5 mage has a little bit of a damage reduction because that's the way the mage trait works, but 7 mage is super duper strong. So you should always strive to get 7 mage in. A lot of times it might even be stronger than arcana just because of the way arcana got nerfed. But anyways, I digress. It's totally fine because this Mordekaiser is going to help out a lot, which is because I have the item for him. So that's why I'm playing this variation. And if I can make it to like level 8, level 9, then I can play extra units. Obviously, if I level to 8, I can just level for a chrono unit. But the chances are I'll just stay on level 7 to roll for Mordekaiser 3, and this will just be my board. Like I said, it's a little bit less cap, like it's less high cap, but because I have extra frontline units, right, I have Tahm Kench, I have Mordekaiser, and I have the Vex, and because I'm going for Mordekaiser 3, I'm a little bit more reliable in terms of the damage, in terms of how much damage I can take, right? Like I have a more frontline, so it's more like, instead of like capping the highest that I can cap, this game is more me capping towards guaranteeing a top 4 because my HP was really low. Right? Like pushing levels here to go level 8, level 9 to play 7 mage. It makes it so my Viger is going to do a way more damage. But there is a chance that my front line, just being the Vex, gets a bit overwhelmed with some of the more destructive comps. Like for example, the Pyro guy has a Smolder 2. I don't think I beat that guy. Like ever. I think I'm on a ticket. Like I think if I fight this guy, I lose. Like I don't see how I beat. Like Smolder with Pyro Emblem is going to do so much. Like this guy's obviously way weaker than me, because I don't think his Syndra can out DPS my my Viger in this at this point in the game, even with the extra dude here. Right? You see this Mordekaiser? You see how the Mordekaiser, that's a Mordekaiser 2, and it's living as long as my Vex 3. Right? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, the Ornn artifact really brings them to, like, this extra level, and that's why it's worthwhile. Because if I get Mordekaiser 3, for example, you know, I'll be cooking. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Unending Despair, really good. It's more of, like, a damage item, if anything. But the damage really helps out the Mordekaiser, because he just basically helps remove attackers and then procs his shield, so it works out really nicely. And I'm still buying Charms. Right, we're just scaling this Viger, and we're playing a very low cap version. Like I said a couple turns ago, the turn that I decided to send it my gold because I was a little bit tilted, or maybe it wasn't tilted. Like there's some reasons why I sent it on that turn in particular, obviously, because I wanted to win out for the rest of the stage and stuff like that. But it hurt my long-term prospects, right? Like I would have easily been able to go level 8 and maybe even level 9 this game, but instead I am stuck on level 7 because of my gold. This guy's Sugarcraft, I lose to him. That's pretty rough. Everybody's really close in HP. It was a very fast game. The boards were very swollen because everybody kind of hit their units really easily. For example, the Sugarcraft guy didn't have to roll for Gwen because he got it off champion delivery. This guy's a Smolder 2 already. There were 2 Ahri players and they both hit Ahri. I'm kind of contesting Mordekaiser and there's an Eldritch player, so it's very inefficient rolling for me because there's a guy holding Mordekaiser that's still alive. But we should be able to crash land into a top 4 here as long as we don't play the Smolder guy, right? And that's like the main thing. Like there was obviously points in this video where I high rolled, but I think the concept I was trying to show, especially at the beginning, was like how you can play around Ornn artifacts with this particular comp. And even though it's not the highest cap version of the comp, it's something that's a little bit consistent or reliable, which is really nice. Everybody just hit an upgraded 5 cost, which is crazy. But here I'm just rolling for Mordekaiser 3. And like I said, those couple turns that I had a bad situation going on, the game was, as much as the game had high rolls, the game had a lot of low rolls in that I couldn't have a mana item on my Viger early. So it made things really difficult for me. Sending it that turn to get the mana item on the Viger doesn't really matter that much, but it was pretty bad, like long-term prospects for the game. Obviously, we high rolled enough to offset the fact that we didn't have a tier, so it worked out the comp. We did enough damage. So this is like an Ahri reroll board with Witchy Wallop. Usually it's very strong. The problem is he just doesn't have enough ability to deal with my Viger. And as you can see, even though we're 5 mage, obviously I do more damage. I'm stronger with 7 mage. But this variation is good enough because I had enough frontline to stall out the Ahri player to give my Viger the chance to to do the damage to live, right? I don't think I'm much longer for this world though. I'm pretty sure if I fight the Smolder player, I just die. Like I think I'm just dead, like straight up. Because I think Smolder with the Execute and 5 Pyro will chew through this front line before my Vigor even gets through to his back line. Right? He has too many units that can easily just wipe out my board. Yeah, let's see. I don't think I win this fight. I'm pretty sure I lose this fight and I just go 3rd or 4th here. He also has a Diana too. That's kind of scary. Yeah, but this guy's level 9, 2 upgraded 5 cost. This is where the board kind of starts to fall apart. Oh, wait, it's actually really close. Oh, we win this fight. Ooh, that's good. Let's go. It was very close, though. If this guy caps out his board any higher, this could also be a positioning diff. But that's actually a huge fight to win, because that might make me go not 4th. Because that guy's not beating me, right? This Isaac Netero. Is that the guy from Hunter Netero? I'm not sure. But anyways, this guy doesn't beat me. He doesn't have enough DPS. Syndra, she does like AoE, but since the nerf, she doesn't do enough. So you need like a secondary carry, and he doesn't have a secondary carry, right? Like without Karma and without Nami itemized, like, you know, sure he has Nyla, but this Nyla isn't gonna do dick, right? She's not gonna do anything. She's not that strong. He has Briar too though, which is a little bit scary, but I think my Vigor will just delete it. There's not like insane Vigor items here. And as you can see, my Mordekaiser, he's doing a lot of damage. We should watch the damage report. You'll see. Yeah, look, my Mordekaiser with Unending Despair is doing almost as much damage as the Vigor. Isn't that, like, put into perspective? Like, obviously the items weren't the greatest. Sorry, my music stopped a while ago and I just restart it. Just to put into perspective, right? If you've been watching or looking at the damage reports, the Mordekaiser is doing as much damage as the Vigor in a Mage setup, right? That's how strong Unending Despair is. Mordekaiser does a shit ton of damage. He's also getting buffed, by the way. So I expect Unending Despair Mordekaiser to be a thing still in the next patch. Here I kind of high rolled. I got Arcana +1. Arcana +1 is massive because Arcana +1 makes it so that I now get some extra true damage on my board. Now, what I should do here is I should have, like, you know, instead of buying the charm, I don't know if this charm really helps me because as you can see, I low rolled it onto this Nami 1. So the charm was basically irrelevant. I should have held on to a Chrono unit and level for Chrono because that would have given my board a lot more survivability and it would have been really nice. Now this guy capped his board a little bit higher as well. I don't know if I beat him anymore. I already thought, I think the last fight was very RNG. Yeah, like, I don't know if I beat this guy. This is how I expected the fight to go. You saw my board just got deleted. I don't know what happened the last fight. Maybe it was just a positioning diff, like my Vigor got a really good hit on Smolder or something. But yeah, we just got absolutely wrecked. So it's a 3rd. But if you looked at some of those fights, I pointed out in one of the fights, Unending Despair Mordekaiser did almost as much damage as everything else, right? So it's a very, very strong, very strong board that you can play. And basically you're compensating the extra damage of 7 Mage with playing around Mordekaiser with Mage Emblem and Unending Despair just to like constantly proc a bunch of shield, and then when those shields break he does a bunch of damage. So he basically is like a very self-sufficient frontline unit that helps contribute to the damage. So it helps to deal with the fact that you don't have 7 Mage or Vertical Arcana. Now here I played Vertical Arcana as well. I could have leveled and played around 7 Mage. I don't know which is stronger in this particular setup because the Mordekaiser does do so much damage, but I just like to cap around Xerath and Arcana. I find that it's very reliable and consistent. But of course, through high rolls, low rolls, this was just a game where I was playing around artifacts as well as Mage +1. So this is something that's very, very easy to reproduce, especially if you get a artifact. You can even play it starting from an artifact galaxy, right? If you get dropped mana items like a tear and a cloak or something like that, and then you have the opportunity to pick an Ornn artifact. There's many of them that do work with the comp. This is one example. Forbidden Idol also works. Both of those work on Vex as well. All the AP items could be used in some way, shape, or form by the backline units, and all the generic frontline units could be used by some shape or form by the frontline units. So it's all really nicely works out. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you around. Hopefully I'm live tomorrow to play either PvE or the PvE of the new patch or some of the old patch as a little last effort to grind before Wednesday, which I should be live to play the Wednesday Giga patch that I made a patch review on. But thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.